say they're progressive, but Jamie Raskin is the only Democrat for Congress who's authored landmark progressive laws, marriage equality, equal pay for women, Green Maryland Act, assault weapons ban, and more. All talk about gun violence, but Jamie Raskin is the only Democrat for Congress who led the fight for tougher gun laws. Only Raskin took on the NRA to ban military-style assault weapons. They all talk about climate change, but Sierra Club chooses Jamie Raskin for Congress because only Raskin wrote laws to reduce our carbon footprint and is leading the fight against fracking in Maryland.
I'm Jamie Raskin, and I approve this message.
Being in a home plate in a Major League ballpark. But I didn't know that I would be giving a speech. I don't have a bat in my hand, so thank you all very much. Tomorrow morning, the great state of Washington has the opportunity to help lead this country into a political revolution. Tomorrow morning, we are going to tell the world that we demand a government that represents all of us, not just a handful of campaign. A nice guy, you comb your hair beautifully. You're a G. 11 months, 10 months have come and gone. If there are large turnouts tomorrow in Washington, Hawaii, and Alaska, we have a shot to win. And let's also say that if we win the Democratic nomination, poll shows us that in matchups, she was losing to John Kasich. We were beating him by 6 points. So don't let anybody tell you that Hillary Clinton is the strongest Democratic candidate to take on the Republicans. It is not true. But it is not just polls. Democrats and progressives will win when there is a large voter turnout. Republicans win when people become demoralized and don't come out to vote. It is our campaign, as you can see here tonight. It is our campaign that is creating the excitement and the enthusiasm which will result in a huge voter turnout in November. Let me just say for a moment a few few of the very important differences between Secretary Clinton and myself. And one of them has to do with how you raise money for a campaign. When we began this campaign, we had to make a very simple decision, and that decision was, should we do what every other campaign does and start a super PAC? We agreed with you. We didn't want a super PAC. We don't need a super PAC. We don't represent Wall Street, corporate America, or the billionaire class. So we did it a different way, different than any other campaign. We went to the working families and the middle class of this country, and what we said is, if you want a candidate who is prepared to take on big money interests, protect and expand the middle class of this country, help us out. And what happened was unbelievable. Up to this point, we have now received almost 6 million individual campaign contributions. More contributions than any campaign in the history of the United States of America. Anybody here know what the average contribution is? $27. To paraphrase Abraham Lincoln at Gettysburg, this is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people. Secretary Clinton did it in a slightly different way. She established several super PACs, and her largest super PAC recently reported raising $25 million in special interest money, including $15 million from Wall Street. In addition, as many of you know, Secretary Clinton has given speeches behind closed doors to large Wall Street financial institutions for $225,000 a speech. Now, I kind of think that if somebody's going to pay you $225,000 for a speech, it must be a mind-blowing, brilliant, earth-shattering speech. It must be written in Shakespearean prose. It must be a speech that will uplift the entire world. Therefore, I think the Secretary should release the transcripts of that speech. Secretary Clinton says she is prepared to release the transcripts if other people, other candidates, release their transcripts. So tonight, here in this beautiful baseball field, I am prepared to make a dramatic announcement. Are you ready? Tonight, in the beautiful city of Seattle, I am announcing that I will release all of the transcripts of my speeches to Wall Street. Are you ready? Here they are. There aren't any, no speeches. Now, I just can't understand why Secretary Clinton gets $225,000 and I can't even get a damn invitation to speak to Wall Street. $125. What about 20,000, 2,000, 18 bucks? Can't get it. And maybe it has something to do with the fact that Wall Street would not be interested in hearing what I have to say. So my cell phone is on. I am waiting the call from Wall Street. If I get that call and if I get that invitation, this is what I will tell them. I will tell them that their greed and recklessness and illegal behavior drove this country into the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression of the 1930s. I will tell them that the middle class of this country bailed them out because their banks were too big to fail. But today, 3 out of the 4 largest banks are bigger than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail. And I will tell them that when a handful of financial institutions has so much economic and political power, it is time to A, reestablish Glass-Steagall legislation, and B, it is time to break them up.
I work with Promo TV out of Seattle.
We need a financial institution in this country which provides affordable loans to small and medium-sized businesses and to the working families of this country, not financial institutions that exist as an island unto themselves, worried only about their profits.
Promo TV out of Seattle.
Now, this campaign is doing well because we are listening to the American people and not just wealthy campaign contributors. We are listening to working people who tell me they can't make it on $8 or $9 an hour. And I want to congratulate the City Council of Seattle, the people of Seattle, for doing the right thing and leading this country to what we've got to do nationally, $15 an hour for every worker in America. This campaign is listening to senior citizens and disabled veterans. And they are telling me they cannot make it on $11,000 or $12,000 a year Social Security. Republicans want to cut Social Security. Instead, we have got some bad news for them. We're not going to cut Social Security, we're going to raise Social Security benefits. This campaign is doing well because we are telling the American people the truth. And the truth is that today we have a campaign finance system which is corrupt, a system which is undermining American democracy. And that is why, together, we are going to overturn Citizens United. And why we are going to move to public funding of elections. Now this is serious business because when you have the Koch brothers and a handful of billionaires spending hundreds of millions of dollars to elect candidates who represent the wealthy and the powerful. That is not democracy. That is oligarchy. We will not accept that. And this campaign is exposing the reality that today we are living in a rigged economy. Millions of Americans are working longer hours for lower wages, yet almost all new income and wealth goes to the top 1%. America must not be a country in which the top 0.1% owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. We must not be an economy where the 20 wealthiest people own more wealth than the bottom 150 million Americans. We are not going to be an economy where the Walton family of Walmart owns more wealth than the bottom 40% of the American people. Together, we are going to create an economy that works for all of us, not just the 1%. But it is not just a corrupt campaign finance system. It is not just a rigged economy. It is a broken criminal justice system. I am tired, you are tired of seeing videos on television of unarmed Americans being shot and killed by police. Now, I'm a former mayor. I have worked with police officers and police departments all over my state, all over this country. Vast majority of police officers are honest, hardworking, doing a very difficult job. But like any other public official, if a police officer breaks the law, that officer must be held accountable. Very few people would have believed that would have been possible. But what happened is for decades, the gay community and their straight allies said that people in this country have a right to love each other regardless of their gender. Bigotry and hatred, and my state of Vermont was one of the leaders in this country in the fight for gay marriage. And we saw the tension, the prejudices that took place. But because of the struggle of the gay community and their straight allies, we achieved gay marriage in 50 states in this country. From the bottom line. Let me give you another example that this city should be very proud of in terms of real change. This city, if we were here 7 years ago, and somebody jumps up and they say, Bernie, you know, the $7.25 an hour minimum wage is a starvation wage, it is a disgrace, we have got to raise it to $15 an hour. But most people around them would have said, $15 an hour, you're nuts. You are trying to double, more than double the minimum wage. It's too radical an idea. It can't happen. Think smaller. But what happened is that all over this country, people in the fast food industry, people who worked at McDonald's, at Burger King, at Wendy's, they went out on strike. and I was privileged to march with them in Washington, D.C. They went out on strike. They protested. They went to the community, and they said to America, we can't live on $7.25 an hour. And then, right here in Seattle, your city council said, we're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. San Francisco, $15 an hour. Oregon, New York State, $15 an hour. And millions of American workers will be able to live with a shred of dignity because of that movement. And that is what change is about. It is what change has always been about. It is when people look around them and say the status quo is not acceptable. And other people will tell them, you can't do it. You want to wipe out racism, you want to wipe out segregation, you want to wipe out homophobia, you want to end discrimination against workers. You can't do it. Don't think so big. I disagree. And right now, we are at a pivotal moment in American history where millions of people are looking around this country and they're beginning to see the grotesque levels of income and wealth inequality not acceptable. Trade policy which costs us millions of jobs, not acceptable. Millions of people leaving college deeply in debt, not acceptable. Women working for 79 cents on the dollar, not acceptable. The United States having the highest rate of childhood poverty of any major country, not acceptable. A corrupt campaign finance system, not acceptable. A broken criminal justice system, not acceptable. The fact that we're the only major country on earth not to have health care for all or paid family and medical leave, not acceptable. And that is where we are today. Millions of people are saying the status quo is not acceptable. We need a political revolution. I am the only candidate for president who will tell you a simple truth, and that is that no president, not Bernie Sanders or anybody else, can address the major crises facing this country unless tens of millions of people stand up, fight back. And demand a government which represents all of us, not just the 1%. We stand together, black and white and Latino and Asian American and Native American, gay and straight, men and women, people born in this country, people who came to this country. If we stand together, there is nothing we cannot accomplish. to think big, not small. Our job is to have a vision of what this country can be. And it is a vision which says that all of our people can have a decent standard of living, where we have a vibrant democracy, where all of us determine the future, not just a few. Now, Donald Trump is not going to become president of the United States. He is not going to become president because the American people understand that bringing people together is what makes us strong, and it trumps dividing us up. The American people understand that togetherness, supporting each other, that when you are in trouble, we are there for you. When my family is in trouble, you are there for us. That togetherness always trumps selfishness. And most importantly, the American people understand that we are not going to elect a president who insults Mexicans and Latinos, who insults Muslims, who insults women, who insults veterans, who insults African Americans. And there was a candidate running like he was in a cafeteria food fight in the 8th grade. But most importantly, I think, the American people understand what every major religion on earth has taught us, whether it is Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, Sikh religion, whatever religion, has always taught us that love trumps hatred. Tomorrow morning, 12 hours from now, people of Washington will have the opportunity to make a very profound statement, and that is that Washington will help lead this country forward into a political revolution. If there is a large voter turnout tomorrow, we will win. If there is a low voter turnout, we will lose. Please come out tomorrow, bring your friends and your